This is your fault.
Welcome to Indigo Chameleon. It is Tuesday. It's Tuesday. That means it's time for an exciting episode of Wonder. We have a brand new audio setup here in the studio that's hopefully going to allow you to hear us a little bit better. Let's get into announcements for tonight as you see these amazing microphones. The team gestures wildly at them. To get started, we have a shop. You can hang out in our shop and buy awesome, cool things in that shop, like T-shirts, water bottles, things of that sort. We also, thank you, Indigo. We also want to shout out to the person who helped us, Chris Short, with Alpaca Ranch Recording. He helped us out quite a bit with this. For all your audio needs, we highly, highly recommend him. Thank you so much, Chris, for everything you did. We've also got a Discord. You can come and hang out with us on the Discord, and get all sorts of like fun memes and hang out with the cast and crew. And there's a play-by post and all sorts of interesting things. So come keep abreast of the latest stuff. The scribe is muted. DM gains are low for me.
What?
So
I'm hearing you really, really well, so
really quiet.
I cannot bring you up anymore. So
I'm gonna move the microphone a little bit closer back because you. So we'll do that. Okay, guys.
Thank you guys.
Yeah, thank you guys so much as we're trying to like map out some of the kinks and stuff like that. So we've got that going. We have an exciting schedule coming up this week. We've got Wednesday Wicked. With we're dark here on this channel, but Indigo Chameleon and I are going to be over on the Plaster Dragon doing something wicked. It's a modern day D&D game set in boss time. Thursday night is usually World of Warcraft, but instead this week is going to be Vampire the Masquerade 101. Our very own Miss Audie, thank you Miss Audie, is going to be able to teach some of us sort of the basics of Vampire the Masquerade. We did one of the coolest questionnaires I've ever seen to help us create characters this week, and I had to contemplate whether I would use a knife or a gun for a situation, and I've never been asked that by a DM, so I'm very excited about what's going to happen. Thank you, Miss Audie, for the birthday present. Our very own Mandrake Madigan has a book that should be assisting him in the future. That's Vampire the Masquerade. On Friday, we have Never, where we're debuting a brand new intro video for Never, something that we've been working on alongside Diana, Indigo Jima, and our very own call sign Scarecrow, who has done some amazing work with it, so you're not going to want to miss that.
I'm super excited.
It's really cool, you guys. It's one of the coolest things. So that's first, and then we're going to go back and we're going to work on a cool little intro video for Wonder as well. I have some ideas, and I need to float them past you guys. Saturday, we are dark here on the channel. Sunday is going to be a homebrew and brew with you. As we...
And you!
And you!
And you. Also you.
If Alcaboo's Bender is available, maybe we'll have him make one of those cocktails in his book or something along those lines. And then Monday, I will be gaming. Might be Undertale, which I had a lot of fun playing with you guys the other night. It might be a brand new game that Alan's telling me that I need to play. That's really, what's it called? Control. So thank you, Moswald, for the NU and all of that fun stuff. But that's it in terms of announcements. I think I've got everything else that I need to say. Once upon a time in Wonderland, the last episode, oof-a-doof. The last episode had some interesting things that happened. The group had a heart-to-heart talk on the roof, and basically sort of laid their cards on the table in terms of who they were and what they wanted from the group. A lot of this was spurned by, or a lot of this was sort of egged on by Enwin, who was the first one to sort of bare his soul and express his doubts that like Anansi had left. He doesn't want to be a chosen one, and the group started opening up in various points after that, with Mandrake offering bits of who he was and little trinkets that he steals, yes, but he steals for the group as a whole. And Grim lending his support to this group that he long thought dead to be a part of the group. So thank you, Moswald, for the subscriptions and gifting 2 subscriptions, buddy. We really appreciate that. And thank you, Castle Master, for subscribing. A lot of the players basically had a long heart-to-heart talk on the roof and tried to forge a stronger relationship as a whole. After that happened, there was a much-needed long rest, and unfortunately, Enwin woke up to realize that the magical necklace that he touched while in the underworld was a cursed magical necklace, and he woke up a changed man, literally. He is a human now, and he is dealing with all the ramifications that come with being a human.
Spoiler alert, it sucks.
Being a human sucks. And so Thoe and Enwin decided to make their way out into the wide world. Thoe had a mission to find the druidess that she talked to before a long time ago in order to sort of track down this order. Mandrake stayed behind with Nyx and Day and confronted a very confused Felrin who popped into his laboratory, pointed a gun at Nyx, and some arcane energy sparked in the other hand. Callie, Felrin's bodyguard, rushed into the room, and Felrin didn't know how to react, and he especially didn't know how to react when bamfed her out of existence. Nyx poofed her, banished Callie. So Callie has been banished out of the room, and our good buddy Grim is going to visit his paramour, Justice, at the Order of the Celestial Deer.
It's not awkward.
I think that's it. Okay.
Yay!
So, let's go to the room first. Callie has just been banished. There is a look of shock, I think, on Felrin's face as he looks over to where she was. There is a very audible pop, and Felrin looks back at you confused, and his eyes go bright. It's a bright white color. You've seen it once before when the transportation circle was kicking off, Nyx, and those concentric circles sort of built out, and standing before him was the celestial form of like a female, and sort of taking over his spot. And so, that being said, he sort of turns to you, and a voice comes from him that is not Felrin's voice, and says, "Bring her back, please."
Okay.
Callie will bamf back into the room. As she does, she will pull 2 swords from her back and take a step forward towards Nyx. Felrin will put a hand up and point towards Day and say, "I know this is confusing."
Yeah, you're pointing a gun at us, or whatever that is. I shouldn't say that. I don't know what that is. Scratch that. You're pointing that at me.
Yes. Yes, I know, Nyx. I'm just as confused as you all are. You all have 24 hours. I know that I've helped you in the past, but this is a business relationship. You rent from me, and right now your character has been good enough for me to overlook certain facets that you bring to the table. The stealing, the killing in the name of good. I ignore some of those things. But something has come to light that I cannot ignore. I will talk to Day about this. You have 24 hours, and I feel like that is a fair grace period for you to find other accommodations.
I'm not leaving without an explanation.
That's fair. You're all becoming more powerful, Nyx. You've done things as a group collectively that I once thought impossible. And I am greatly impressed with what you've all been able to do, but I can't deal with this anymore. The goddess that I serve has shown me the truth about a few of you. I serve the goddess Iyun, Nyx, and I've never hidden that facet of myself. And Iyun deals in prophecy occasionally. Nyx, there's potential here for this group to do wonderful things. There's also potential for this group to bring about the ruin of Wonderland.
And you think we're better off without your help?
No, I would love to help. I would love to be the guidance and the spiritual guide that you all need to do, but I have a feeling that I'm hindering you from what you're doing. You're becoming comfortable here. And too comfortable. And I'm becoming too invested in who you are as people.
But you said this was a business transaction.
It is. And for the sake of my business, I need you to leave.
So you would punish us for something we might be, rather than keeping us around for what we are.
If you would like to see it in those terms, then absolutely.
Several of us are gone.
I understand.
Will they be allowed to come back and gather their things?
I feel like 24 hours is fair.
Do you have any suggestions on where we should go? Or are you just kicking us out and hoping for the best?
The Wonderland in this particular area is not uncommon to find accommodations. I can name a few off the top of my head. They're the separate rings leading outward. You can check the different districts and things of that sort in order to find accommodations. You can check, it depends on how posh you want. There's one other sort of inn located in this section, but honestly, Bob is the one to talk to.
Okay.
And does Bob feel the same way that you do about all of this?
I haven't spoken to him. Probably not.
I guess.
I'm done here.
He will holster the boomstick, and as he does, he will ask, he will start casting. He will be casting what looks to be the message cantrip as a message appears in Day's head. And as the message hits Day, she looks over at Mandrake and she looks over at Nyx. And she says, "Would you two give me a minute? Please?"
Sure. I'm gone. I'm gonna go find Bob.
I'll go to my room.
Thank you. Bob, the door closes behind as she sits down in a stool, and the last thing you hear is her looking at Felrin, and she says, "Talk, before I force it out of you."
I'm not going to go to my room.
Okay.
I'm going to stop right outside the door after the door closes
Mm-hmm.
and kind of fold into the shadows as much as possible.
Sure. Callie will walk out with you to the door and close it behind her and turn and just sort of stand there with her arms crossed at the front of the door. You find Bob over at the counter.
Hey,
Hi.
we're getting kicked out, so
I'm sorry, what?
Felrin's kicking us out.
Oh, funny, haha. It's
I'm
good.
getting my stuff.
Wait, you're serious?
Yes.
Excuse me. And Bob will get up and head into the room. And Callie will try to stop him. She'll have the swords up. And he says, "Please, I know all of your dirty secrets. Move out of the way quickly." And she will sort of begrudgingly step out of the way, and he'll walk into the room and close the door. Mandrake, give me a perception check as you try to catch some of these words as the door opens.
Only every once in a while.
Is it?
Sticks. Hold on. Sorry.
Yeah.
15.
15. Yeah, you catch a few words as you're coming in. You see Day, who's sort of standing there, and she's pacing back and forth. Felrin goes, Destiny isn't written in stone, but she's not supposed to be here. And then the door closes.
I'm gonna go find Flint and start packing.
Flint is upstairs, and I think as you relay all of this, he's going to look at you and says, "Great, change of scenery.
Yeah.
We've outgrew this place anyway."
You've been here a day.
I know, and I want adventure. You never take me anywhere. I've been in hell.
Where do you want to go?
I don't know, someplace interesting, someplace different. I'm sure we can find a place. There's that really fancy place.
You've been talking to Bob?
A little. They have room service. Room service. You can just lay in bed and read, or lay in bed and do other things, and the food was brought to the room.
You miss the castle.
I miss the castle.
So do I.
Do you remember servants?
Kind of.
You remember Boswick?
I didn't talk to him much.
I did. He was an old man. He smelled of cabbage all the time. We never ate cabbage in the castle, but he smelled of
know.
cabbage all the time. You guys continue to pack, and he instantly starts like sort of raising your spirits a little bit, just sort of this sense of adventure and this flight of fancy as you stand by the door. Let's go to Enwyn and Thoe. Enwyn, in your new human form, your stats are all the same, except for you are sort of walking about and your nose is assailed with the smells of the mouth. This teeming marketplace close to the edge of the Red Keep. Every once in a while, someone will shout and you'll sort of flinch uncomfortably as your hearing seems somewhat augmented. You're sort of used to the sort of vibrational sort of frequencies of being a Silva, being a plant man, but now being a human, it's just everything is loud and so much. So
You look cranky.
I am.
Why?
It's loud,
Yes.
and it's uncomfortable, and it's hot, and it's dirty.
Welcome to my life.
I don't like it. I'd like mine back.
Well, I'm sure it'll happen. But did you ever consider that maybe this is a good thing?
No.
Well, okay. So you were saying that when we went to hell that your people were different, right? They were kind of more like me. I mean, not me, like fire, but like they were different.
Right.
And you're gonna bring them back, right?
That's the goal.
And you're gonna remember. They're gonna remember being different.
They might.
And it's probably a little scary. And it's probably a little uncomfortable, right?
Very.
And they'll come back and will they remember it immediately or will they remember it later?
It'll take a few years, but they'll get there.
Okay. And you're gonna remember this too.
It's going to be hard to forget.
Right. So maybe being able to relate to the feelings that they're feeling might be a good thing. I mean,
Hadn't thought.
you're kind of like sort of a leader with them, right?
I think that's.
I mean, when they're not busy hating you.
That's, there you go.
Okay.
Now you understand.
So maybe being able to understand kind of a little aspect of what they're going through is good for a leader to feel and understand.
Alright. You're not wrong.
Oh my gosh, that might be the nicest thing you've ever said to me.
this is really sweet. Are you guys just sort of like having this conversation as you walk in the marketplace and
Yeah.
stuff? Yeah, you guys walk around for a little bit. Thank you, Miss Audie, for the subscription. You're the best. So yeah, you're walking around the marketplace. Any sort of goal in mind
Yes.
here?
Okay, so I am looking for
Yeah.
I'm looking for Cyrilia,
Okay.
who I met there before. So I'm going to be asking around as we're walking around for Cyrilia.
Sure.
If people are asking me for description, I'm probably gonna give her Elven description.
Okay, give me investigation. I'll give it to you at advantage since you're
Okay.
asking around to pre-established vendors and things of that stuff. Like, hey, have you seen
Um,
Cerelia? You're describing her.
And I'll
like,
also use, if people are looking confused, I'll say someone from the Order of the Broken Moon.
You're gonna say that to the people?
Oh.
No, I'm just clarifying.
Yeah, no, I'll ask, I'm looking for 4 names, like, and with people who might look knowledgeable, and if they look kind of shady or seedy, I'm avoiding it. So I'm looking for Cerelia.
Any shady
and
people,
Like,
you're.
I'll like insight checks, so you can handle that as you will.
Tell you what,
But,
give me a blanket insight check as you're
okay.
sort of looking around and you're
I'm
sort of.
also looking for, perhaps, Eureka Blood Moon or Brianna.
Okay.
It's a 9 plus. Great. Oh, actually, 12. Yeah.
Okay. You're sort of. Yes.
Do you tell me any of the names before you start asking?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. I know Brianna. Do I want to send her something? Tell her to meet us somewhere.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. Do you have paper?
Yes.
Like, I can send her a note.
Yeah, we
But
can
like
get
a
paper.
physical note.
Yes. Yes.
So let's do that.
Okay.
I'm gonna.
Oh,
What do you
that's clever.
What do you write on the note?
What would we write on there? We're gonna write who it is.
Yes, Thoisar here, looking for Cerelia. Important.
We're also gonna have to tell her where to meet us.
Yes.
She can't respond to this one.
Okay, so, is there a kind of a place within the mouth?
Sure.
Like a
Yeah. There's
fountain in a center square or something
Sure.
like
Yeah.
that?
There's actually there's a couple of different little statues that sort of mark the different districts. A lot of them are scenes depicted from the story. There's like a statue of the original Queen playing croquet. There's the Mad Hatter's Tea Party. So you are closer to the Mad Hatter's Tea Party statue at the
Okay.
moment.
If there's something that's close by that's along the lines of the caterpillar, I would probably go for that.
There's a
Or
small
something along the lines
park.
of like,
There's a small park that's specifically for like children. It's almost a community garden type thing, and
that makes more sense for this
surrounding
group
the
than
caterpillar.
group of
Yes.
druids. Okay.
Yeah.
So then I do that.
That you do that. Okay.
I'm gonna cast Galder Speedy Courier,
Okay.
and I'm gonna
And
put the note in
how
the chest.
fast does it arrive there?
Immediately.
Immediately.
As soon as the lid of the chest is closed, the elemental and the chest disappear, then reappear adjacent to the target creature.
Cool. Yeah. So you guys send this message off, and you were sort of sitting by this park then, waiting for her to arrive.
Okay.
We should have put something in there.
Put what in there?
I'm not sure, but I don't like weight.
Yes.
I think this little old man who sort of shambles along. He looks gnomish, and he's got a bunch of flowers that he has on a little cart that he's pushing, and he goes, "Oh, good day, sir.
Hello.
Would you like to buy a flower for your lovely lady friend here?"
He's gonna choke back the need to start talking to this man about how you shouldn't be selling plants and just go, sure. I'll take one.
Oh, lovely, lovely. It is a donation basis, so you just pay what you think is fair to a poor man trying to make a living here in Wonderland. No, I don't want to put a price on love.
Here's 3.
3 gold. Oh, remarkable, sir, that she is worth. This man must care for you quite a deal. And he reaches in and pulls a red rose and hands it over to you, Zoe, and makes a big deal about it. Some of the other vendors in the area that are sort of wandering the park all kind of scoot a little bit closer to you. Just sort of like you notice some of the food vendors like walk by a couple of times and they just sort of, hey, what's up? How's it going? Like, yeah. Yeah. So you have this nice little rose, and you're both sitting on this bench by the park.
Thank you. I know that was uncomfortable for you.
It was.
it's nice of you to put yourself in a place of discomfort for me.
Well, as long as you enjoy.
What would you enjoy?
Is it bad for me to say being a plant again?
No, it's not.
Let's pause there. Let's pause there, and we'll shift back over to. Let's shift back over to you, Grim. You have made your way outward towards past outside of the mouth towards the first ring, which is sort of the culinary and sort of like food market and things of that sort on the left, like sort of side of things. But on the other side is some of the sort of religious temples and things of that sort in this in the first ring. The first ring outward. You make your way through the first ring, moving past some of the finer restaurants and things of that sort, and make your way to some of the temples and the orders that have set up shop here in Wonder. As you make your way over to the Temple of the Celestial Deer, it's modest when it comes to all the other sort of like religious sort of establishments, but it's still the craftsmanship is very fine. It's dark woods and things of that sort. You won't find any marble or things of that sort, but you will find some of the members of the order working on and doing general upkeep out front. As you walk up towards it, there is in a minute, as a turtle will sort of begin to walk forward very, very slowly. You know him as the father of this temple, the oldest member of the Order of the Celestial Deer, Dorian, who seems to be moving at a snail's pace, just obscenely so. And Dorian shuffles forward, and it's uncomfortable how slow Dorian is moving. And you almost wish that Dorian would hurry up and get here, because the waiting is really the hardest part to deal with. It's uncomfortable, really. So much so that you start walking forward towards him.
Just inch over, like.
Yes.
Hi.
Hello.
Hi. Is Justice around?
Who?
Justice. She was headed off this direction.
Yes.
And where might she be?
In the temple.
More specifically, a room, the back, second floor, maybe, or somewhere about thereabouts.
I believe she is in the library.
Oh, thank God. Okay.
I will escort you.
If you want to point me in the direction, I'm sure I can find it just as well. Oh, please move at a sluggish pace. You know how that thrills me. And
What did you say?
just to the direction to the library.
To the library.
Yes. If you could point.
Where I was going.
You just point, and I will walk there. Just.
This way.
And he's gonna reluctantly follow.
Dorian escorts you, and at one point, as you're walking, Dorian almost seems like he's standing in place. Like he's stalled out, and it takes you a second to be like, are we moving so slow that it almost looks like 1 mile per hour? Is it looking like, what is happening? And then you look, and Dorian is asleep. Like he's asleep, standing up, you're hearing slight snores and things like that. And you walk past him. You walk past him, and there's a few people that are just sort of like looking over at him as he stands in the hallway. A little bit of the smaller students are just walking past him, and they nod and say, "He does this. It's all right."
And the library is.
He stood in front of the classroom one day. We had to cancel school. You make your way. You make your way past, and you make your way past and make your way to the library. You scanning the tables, you will find that Justice is the only one in the library at this point, and she's behind a desk, and she has several books out on the table.
I'm just gonna go sit down next to her, just try to clear some space from that we can have a conversation.
She does not look up. She just keeps looking at her book, keeping her eyes sort of forward.
It's what happened back there with the name doesn't matter. I'm sorry.
You're sorry.
So a long while ago there was this thing, and
Okay.
you know, her and I had a moment, kind of, and then it was over.
Right.
But that's not how we are anymore. She's gone. I thought she died, but that's over.
course.
That's over.
Yes.
Yes.
And she thought you died.
Yes.
That did not look like the kiss of something that was over. Grim.
No, I understand what it looked like, but that's not what it was. Like,
Can relationships happen, and I understand. The thing that worries me most is the other members of your group. And all of the times that you described them, you described Enwyn as green and muscular.
is he not?
He's fey.
And but what does that have to do with anything?
They're, I don't know how to say this. She'll close the book and sort of put it off to the side, and she'll look at you and she'll say, they're different from us. Grim, they have no moral center. You have to realize that we are able to sort of make changes outwardly and dedicate ourselves to a higher cause, but a fae is nothing but trickery and wordplay and taking bits of people's souls.
I appreciate you trying to warn me or whatever it is, but do you understand that they're still my people? And coming from a person who's had 3 different passengers with himself, like trickery and dishonest and malfeasance.
But you're different now.
Well,
like,
of
I've
course.
helped you change that.
And with the help of Harvey as well.
Yes, of course, and I love Harvey, you know I do, but I think there's a difference here between a partnership struck in agreement where Harvey hides nothing from you, you hide nothing from Harvey, but the Fae, all they do is hide. They skirt the truth.
But he's always been there for me, so
Has he?
I can't turn my back on him. That doesn't make any sense.
Oh, has he always been there with you?
Well,
This past year? I'm sorry, was it Enwyn's bed that you shared? Was it Enwyn who helped you understand your connection with Harvey? Was it Enwyn who fought alongside you this past year at your side?
You know I'll never give that up. You have always been there. You've been there through thick and thin. Through the hardest parts of my life, you were there. But before you, Justice, they were them. The rest of the group who had carried me through situations far greater than just who is Fae and who is, well, not. I cherish you and all that you do, but I would hope that you would also respect them just as much as you respect me. And if for my sake, respect me and don't worry about them. Just worry about me and what they mean to me.
I do worry about you. That's why I say this. You want me to worry about you? Done.
But at least treat them with respect. Please.
I will treat them with the amount of respect they deserve.
That doesn't seem to be much. But if it beats the alternative, I trust you can compose yourself then.
I will compose myself in his presence.
Thank you.
But if he asks for my name, if any trickery comes forth from his lips, I will strike it down. You know, this is who I am. This is what I believe. I stand for what is right and what is good, and I do not wish for anyone's portion of their soul to be taken by that
Mind your word.
being.
Thank you. I understand your concern. we'll take this one day at a time. And if you don't feel so comfortable giving him your name, then don't. I don't blame you for it. It was difficult for myself as well.
Why don't you let me finish here? And maybe you and I can go get some food.
Sounds great. I'm just gonna go just give her a hug and
Yes,
kiss on the forehead.
as you give her a hug, you hear a shuffling coming from behind you as Dorian comes in and says, "The library!"
Dorian, my good sir, he's gonna slip him like a coin, like a copper piece or something like into his pocket, and be like, "Thank you for your service, and I will see myself out." And he'll just be gone.
Just go around.
All right, boys. Let's head back. This party is split into three. Let's head back to Felgren's Funhouse.
Did Joker give us a communication device?
Yeah,
Each of us?
Yes, you have the cockle shells.
Then I'm going to use that to inform
The shell
everyone
phones.
else that we are getting kicked out and we have a day to collect our stuff.
Sure. Let's play out this conversation.
So, conference call.
As you're walking out to the courtyard, everybody's shell phone goes off,
Oh,
and as for a conference call. No, it sounds like even though you guys are landlocked at the moment, you guys start hearing the sounds of the ocean in your ears. It's a very pleasant sort of ringtone as you all sort of hear the sounds of the.
Hello?
Damn, this thing's handy. So bad news, we're getting kicked out.
Why?
Felvrin doesn't want us there for some reason.
What did you do?
It was some nonsense about prophecy. He says it's not safe for us to be there.
It's not safe for us to be.
Not safe for him.
Oh,
Or for
that's
us.
accurate.
So
Either
anyways, we have a day to get our stuff out and to find a new place.
Okay, well, I think we're okay with the day. I think we can get everything we need to get done here anyway.
Probably.
Okay. Mandrick and I can start looking for places if that's cool with you guys.
Places to stay after here?
Yes. Unless you want to just be in the woods.
Well, I mean, that's an option.
That is an option.
I'm actually quite
not
happy
opposed
with
to that.
staying in the woods. But yeah, but do we need to be in the mouth at all? Or are we, like, traveling out of here as soon as we finish up with
I
the
guess we haven't really planned much.
So I guess we need to talk. Maybe in person?
All right, but we're not leaving.
No. I mean, they can come here.
That's true.
Well, we also have people coming here in the next few days. We can't just leave yet.
Okay. Do you think we would have a problem staying in town? Like, it might be better to be staying in the forest?
We have a few options in town, but we don't know much about them yet. Going back, did we tell them to meet us at Felrin's? We told them to meet us in the forest.
Yeah.
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 Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So, worst case scenario, we find something close to the edge of town, near the forest. Best case scenario, we have a place to stay in the forest.
Well, then do the three of you want to look for lodging while we take care of the forest, and then we can all meet up?
That works. I mean, I was just going to gather a few of my things, gather anything you wanted me to gather, but he says you have 24 hours.
Okay, and we can also call you, I mean, if you finish up, just call us, and then we can all meet in the forest area. Who knows, there may be a viable place to stay there.
Sounds good.
True.
All right.
Lunch is cut short as you guys sort of have lunch and you decide to meet up with the other two as Mandrake, Grim, and Nyx start to explore the different forms of lodging that you could acquire while staying, if you wanted to stay close to here. Thoe and Enwin, as we go back to you guys sort of sitting on this bench, it is not long before a year older Brianna comes running over to where you guys are and runs straight past you and starts looking in the.
Brianna! Brianna, dear.
Hello.
Oh my god.
I forgot I look different.
Oh, hi.
We both do.
Hi.
Hi. Yeah.
No, it's me. Okay, I look different. The last time you saw me, I was green and furry.
I was just green.
So
We
sorry.
sent you the note.
Yes.
Oh.
Yeah.
Everything's wrong. Don't worry.
I druid craft a little flower because I think that's what I did the first time I saw her. So I druid craft the same flower.
She
that I
will
did
tentatively
before.
reach out for the flower, and as she takes the flower from you, it's been a while since you've druid crafted anything.
Mhm.
As she takes the flower from you, you do notice that the stem is a little warm.
Ooh,
Like,
okay.
because, you know, so she
Yeah.
sort of takes it and she goes, Bowie, hi, yeah, you look real different.
I do.
You're a redhead?
Yeah.
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 Welcome to the club. You're,
Yep. Don't. I know.
It's temporary.
Let's
oh,
Cursed necklace, you know, these things happen.
sure. We thought you died.
That seems to be
That
what's going around.
we were not here.
They made a statue of you.
Yeah, I know.
It was really, like, gaudy and big.
To be fair, we thought we were only gone for 3 days. It was a year.
Okay,
Makes sense.
that's gotta suck.
It really, really did.
Well, everybody was gonna be super, like, happy to meet you. I mean, we actually named, like, a cool, like, little portion of there's a stream named after you. There's this, like stream that sort of, like, goes through, like, the area, like, everybody was like, let's call it, like, Chloe's, like, stream, and so, like, there's this little, like, stream that moves through.
Ironic is
the
the
stream, the stream's a little twitchy, but it's super cool. So it's gonna be difficult getting you to pass all the guards.
Okay. What can we do to help?
I bet one of the old doorways is open. Let's go see if Cerilia's shop if she still left a doorway. That'll probably make things a little bit easier.
Okay.
And so Brianna will sort of walk through, and as she walks through, you'll notice that she is this year she's gotten a little bit taller. She's actually wearing like robes. She's not wearing sort of the like traditional like pants and shirt and sort of like tour guide vibe to it. She's wearing robes that are this dark green, and on it is a moon sort of like falling to the ground. And some of the people that she sees, she sort of waves to and they smile back and nod politely, but some of them see her walking with you all, and they purposely move out of the way. Like they split off.
If it would help, I could always turn into a kind of smaller like animal form.
Yeah.
I could do the same for him, and you could kind of smuggle us in if that would be easier than this old door.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Let's give it a shot.
I mean, I don't know how perceptive the people that are guarding it are, but we're there on a perfectly legitimate. I mean, we
Sure.
should be there.
Yeah, I should be able to carry you guys just fine. That'll work great. Cool. So what are you guys turning into?
I know it kind of sucks to be a human. You want to be a rat instead?
This is a lot of change in one day.
Cockroach?
Nope. We'll take the rat.
I mean, is there another small animal that you might prefer to be?
No. That I trust you.
She'll
Think a rat's best. We'll do that.
she'll find sort of a dark alleyway off to the side a little bit. She's like, okay, whenever you guys are ready.
Okay, so I cast polymorph first on
Okay.
him
All right.
and turn him into a rat. But I warned beforehand. I'm like, okay, he's not gonna quite think like himself. He's gonna think like rat. But they're pretty smart.
Gotcha.
So, but just if you can, just kind of scoop him up and put him in your pocket.
Oh no, I'll just carry him in my talons.
Oh my
In your
god.
what?
My talons.
Your talons?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. That'll be fun.
I'm gonna die.
Okay. She's gonna carry you in her talons.
Great.
All right, whenever you're
We're
ready.
experiencing all the new things today. I'm so. Oh god.
Okay, Edwin, thank you, Miss Audie, for the 500 bits. I got something special planned. I was gonna wait a few episodes, but I'll introduce it tonight just for you. You'll know when it's happening. Yeah. You got a little Edwin rat who's sort of like moving around, and you're a little confused.
He's so cute. I'm gonna pick him up.
Okay.
And then I'll give him to her.
Yeah.
And I'll turn into a rat myself.
Okay. She holds Edwin in one hand, and then you wild shape into a rat.
Okay, here.
Yeah.
And I wild shape into a rat. You're saying these things like you have something that you know that I don't.
No.
I'm a little scared right now.
There's a moment where she's holding the two of you, and then she wild shapes into the form of a giant eagle. And takes off into the sky, holding the two of you in rat form. It looks like an eagle that has just caught, like, I'm gonna call you breakfast, and I'll call you breakfast too. This eagle flies off into the sky. And when it's hard to wrap your head around the fact that you've been turned into a rat, and it's just sort of like I have no mouth, but I must scream. Like you're just sort of flooded with emotion and the lust for cheese. So a lot of this is lost on you. Though when you're lifted up into the air, you still maintain your mental capabilities, and as a wild shape, you can even speak. As you fly up, you see the concentric rings of the mouth. You see the mouth itself with a red keep, and then you see the first ring, the second ring, the third ring, and the fourth ring, and you expect to see the sprawling expanse of the forest. But it's not there, Zoe. Like, it's just not there. You see good portions of trees that have been cut down in stacked to the side. You see workers that are constructing and transporting these trees, and the forest that you lived in and that you breathed, that you ran in, like the caterpillar's home is gone. And the druid in you, the part of you that's connected to the earth, you cannot help it. You just start to cry. Little rat tears.
Same.
Like, I don't see any forest. Like, it's all cut down.
You're flying overhead, and this image hits you, and it's too much to bear until your head darts off as Brianna begins to circle forward, and as she does, you see a huge chunk of it. And you see this huge part of the forest, the sanctuary of the Broken Moon, that has been preserved. And as you see this, you see guards lined up, facing the forest, small tents set up along the outer edges of it, and they are all, some of them have tables out, and they're sort of looking at sort of plans and pointing towards the forest. As you're flying overhead, give me perception checks, though, as you start spotting, trying to look for any sort of...
16 plus 7, 23.
23. One of the guards, you watch as you're flying overhead, these huge acres of forest that with the trees which seem to be untouched by the carnage surrounding them. You see a group of soldiers who begin this assault as they run from the tree line into the forest, and there is a moment where they run into the forest, and then the trees themselves respond, blocking their way, swinging outward and pushing them back. The soldiers are flung outward from the forest itself, as you see a few people wearing those same robes casting and reaching their hands into the ground. You watch as all three of them begin to grow bark over their skin and stride forward to stand with the trees, staring outward at this group of soldiers, which has begun to assault the forest. It's a huge section, but I want to say 3/4 of the forest is gone, just completely destroyed. You fly deeper into the forest, and there are cries from animals as you fly overhead, and it takes you a second to register that they're calculated. It's a and it's following you. It's almost as if the forest is reaching up. You come to a small clearing, and in this clearing are about 50 members of the Order of the Broken Moon, who stand in a wide circle, the giant eagle landing, dropping the two of you onto the ground and shifting back into place. A member of the group walks forward and pulls her hood back, and it is a drow.
Oh, does she look familiar?
She does.
Like Eureka?
Are we still rats?
You are still a rat. Thoe is still
When
a rat.
she puts me down, I'm gonna. Oh gosh. I'm gonna wait for Brianna to introduce us before I change.
Brianna comes back and she says, "I found her. I found Thoe. She's the one that made all of this possible. You remember with the money that she gave." It's the stories that she allowed us to set up the sanctuary, but I found her. But I'm just gonna give you the heads up that she looks real different, and she's a redhead now.
Okay, I will drop my wild shape. It's me. This is who I am, but I didn't know who I was. But it's me. And
Persuasion check, please, Thoe.
4 plus 0. Crap.
Ariza looks at you and looks over at Brianna, and she says, "You understand how tricky the queen can be, correct? You send a being made of living fire into the heart of the forest itself, the only remaining forest here in Wonder?"
I promise it's me. I druid craft a flower.
As she does this, Ariza raises her hand, and all 50 of the druids around the circle, all druid craft flowers around you, and says, "This is a very cute parlor trick, Thoizar, but you are dead. Now tell us who you really are, and who your rat companion is."
I wasn't dead. I was gone. I was in hell. We were rescuing somebody. We thought it was 3 days. It was a year. We just got back. I wish there was something I could do to prove to you it was me. I can tell you about our entire conversation a year ago, because for me it was so recent. What can I do to convince you that I am who I say I am?
Brianna tugs at your sleeve a little bit. Give me, he's still rat form, correct?
Yeah,
You're not dropping
yeah,
it?
yeah.
Brianna tugs at your sleeve a little bit, and just does this.
Talk?
And as she does, as you go talk, she grabs Brianna and tugs her backward.
Listen, whether you believe me or not, I have something really important. You're understanding what to say, okay, but I don't. Okay, so listen, I'm gonna. He's not normally a rat. I'm gonna drop the spell. This is Enwin. He looks a little different, but he'll look more like himself later. But we have something really important that has to be done, and it's an entire people that needs saving. And I drop the spell on him.
That is the most uncomfortable thing. Hello. You look the same.
You don't.
You're right. But we are the ones that got you out of those chains. So, perhaps, just maybe, you could trust us.
She speaks to you in Druidic.
Oh, I thought of that, but I was
Can-
like, any druid can talk druidic. Okay. Oh, okay. Go ahead. Sorry.
If you are Thoe, why do you take this form?
Because the caterpillar said, "This is who I am." Cheshire said, "This is who I am."
All 50 of them take a step backwards. And she looks at you and she says, "The caterpillar says this is who you are."
In your time, long ago, in my time, much more recently.
I'm assuming this is all on Druidic.
This is all in
Yeah,
Druidic
so
at
I'm
this
just
point.
like,
As you're
everybody's
sort of
sitting
standing
back
here,
and
you're
I'm
like,
just
can someone polymorph me into a rat?
I can't.
I feel like a rat on the wall anyway.
I cannot help who I am. But all I can do is do the best with what I have. And right now, what I'm trying to do is to help an entire race of people. And this is the only place, I think, that we can do that.
Then, let us bring you to the caterpillar. And she will turn, and the group will split, and she will turn and start walking into the woods.
Oh my gosh.
Back to this group. You guys are looking around. You guys are all sort of met up and leaving Felrin's.
We gathered our things.
You gathered your
Okay.
things. You got stuff set up.
I left this on my bed.
Okay. Got it. I think it's a message enough. Yeah. Flint is with you. He's got stuff. He's gonna leave. They're gonna leave all of their stuff behind. Day is also still sort of staying behind and says that if you guys tell her where, she can move all the stuff to a different location.
Okay.
What are we looking for?
So, shortly after we step outside, I'm gonna turn to Nyx and say, I don't know if we need to find another place, but we did have a plan for something that we were going to do.
Yeah, but kind of, we're planning to do that in our rooms when we had those.
I mean, I have a room right here. and-
Flint will like sort of cock his head to the side and be like, and I am there to watch.
I will
Honestly-
pull out the vial.
Hey now.
The blue vial.
There you are.
And I will say, so my hat.
Your hat.
Yes, it isn't. It hasn't always been a hat, or has
When is a hat not a hat?
when it's a teacup.
All right.
Yeah, that didn't make sense.
So a while back, I was doing some experimenting. I created a large explosion, and I was able to see the essence of my hat.
Well, we all had that phase growing up.
I need to do it again.
You want to do it again.
Need to do it again.
All right. So why don't we find accommodations before you take your magical mystery trip?
Well, I was thinking we could use this, and then I'll tap the kit.
Yeah. Oh, okay. I mean, you could. I know that I would personally feel better not being in an enclosed space if you're about to take hallucinogenics.
I mean, it's very roomy. And I was thinking Nyx could come inside and make sure I didn't do anything exceptionally stupid, and you could maybe hold on to the case out here.
And where would Grim be?
We're just gonna be toiling around trying to find accommodations while you work on what universe you could change your mind.
Sure, yeah. And if you guys want to be in the case, I guess Grim and I could walk around with this case in tow, and as long as you both are fine with us finding accommodations and being the ones to make the decision here.
It's up to you, Nyx.
I really don't care where we end up as long as we
Great,
go
you
somewhere.
heard the man, both of you. Into the case,
Yep.
please.
Go, go, go.
They're gonna pick the posh place.
Are you hungry?
Starved.
Are you thirsty?
Yes?
Are your feet weary with the road?
Not particularly. I haven't walked around a lot.
Okay, well
Oh,
then,
so I'm sorry, that was yes, Andy. Yes, very weary.
then
Very, so
let's
weary.
go find a place that we can hang our hats and drink a cold drink and fill our bellies with good food.
Sure. You two start looking around. It could be investigation checks. The first, let's see. I'll roll for him. He rolled real good.
That is gonna be 18.
Yeah, he rolls the same. So you guys are sort of walking around this first sort of place of the mouth. You know the mouth is the central shopping area. There's one place that's sort of known in and out as you begin to walk around and sort of ask around for directions. You find the Earl Grey.
Oh, God.
The Earl Grey is this opulent place that's almost as close to the Red Keep entrance as you could possibly get. The Earl Grey is a very, very simple establishment, but as the two of you walk in through the front door, you realize that it's a little bigger on the inside. as the room floors tend to go up and up and up and up and up, but it only looks like a one-story building from the front. There's a large marble desk that is being polished by an elf who's wearing white gloves on his hand, and he begins to polish it, and he looks up as the two of you enter in, and he sort of looks over at you and wrinkles his nose a bit, and looks over at Flint and raises an eyebrow.
Is the dress of the place, are people like pretty gaudy in their dress?
You guys are definitely, you stand out a bit, because Grim, you've always described as being a salt of the earth. Like,
Yes,
it's just like,
of course.
if he's wearing a shirt, it's open. Like, it's
It's the Hasselhoff. He's got to let it out.
Flint hasn't bought new clothes since he came back from the underworld. So he's looking a little ragged as well. But the two of you are quite a pair coming in, carrying like 4 people's worth of luggage, walking up to the front desk. And this elf looks at you and may I help you?
I can only imagine what this looks like. I'm so sorry. And he's going to start ruffling his shirt as he does. Like he's wearing the special effects clothing, so he's just going to be like, let it change to something more sophisticated for the establishment. So
Well, I appreciate the try.
the try. And your name, sir?
My name is Edbert.
Edbert. It is quite the pleasure to meet you. I am Grim, and my associate Flint.
And Flint will.
Great.
We're actually looking for some lodgings.
Are you now?
Yes, quite.
May I recommend a place further away from here? Some lovely places in the 2nd ring and the 3rd ring.
He's just gonna pull out about a handful of gold and just kind of slowly start stacking them
Divine
up.
handful.
I'm gonna do 20 pieces of gold. I'm just gonna stack them up, just in a tower of 10 and another tower of 10. Be like, so, should we take this elsewhere?
No,
No, it's fine.
I don't think you should take this elsewhere. Pardon me, sir. Sorry, I'm having one of those sort of out of body experiences. Welcome to the Earl Grey.
Thank you so
Your
much.
home away from home, sir. I will be at your disposal here while you look for a room. Yes. How many rooms is this? Are you looking for one of our suites? Is it? Are you looking for?
We have a number of members in the
You
group.
do lovely. Yes, of course you
We have
do.
a number of different suites.
How many rooms are you looking for, sir?
My goodness. So, Flint, you would need one with Nyx, and I'm sure Thoe and Anwin would need one together. And
Yes,
I'm
of
sure,
course.
And then Jay would need one.
I don't know these people, but you say names.
And then so I would say 6 rooms.
6 rooms. Yes, lovely. We also offer suites as well. If you would like to book a suite, I can also give you any sort of upgrade that you like. If you, in terms of getting a room, if you would like female or male companionship brought to your room.
I think just
food
the
and
standard.
drink delivered.
The standard at the moment.
The standard.
We'll negotiate.
Yes.
Graham's just gonna take the stack
The
of
standard.
10, and he's gonna
spender.
spend, just send over that one stack of 10 gold pieces. Like, so this can be yours for.
I think before you say this can be your, he takes the stack and puts it in his
Fantastic.
pocket. Yes.
Uh-huh.
Yes.
We need someone to help us with our bags because we are tired from the road and
Oh,
from
yes.
our walk. And if you wouldn't mind,
Of course. Yes. And anything you wish. So 6 rooms for how long? Are you thinking?
for the foreseeable future,
Would you like food or drink sent up to the room?
regularly, yes.
Regular. Yes, sir. Right away. And I just need. Yes, of course. He will ring a tiny bell, and as he rings a little bell, a little side panel will open up, and these little goblins will sort of like climb out. One of the goblins, something drops out of his pocket, and he snatches up what looks to be like a dodecahedron. And he takes it, looks at it, and he's like, "Mine, clicky clack." shoves it in his pocket, and he picks up the bags with somewhat ease, and he says, "They're getting 6 standard rooms. Go ahead and bring them to the 2nd floor. Any dietary restrictions?"
Ooh, no. When the other guests arrive, I'm sure that they'll fill you in on the rest. But
Yes, of course. The first floor of the lodgings here is a heated steam bath. All are welcome if you would like. If you would like to burn your clothes, you are welcome to. As he looks over at Flint, he was like, and purchase others. I could have some sent up to your room, and we could just sort of guesstimate all of this.
do you have a seamstress or someone that can make textiles nearby?
Oh, yes. We have the finest seamstress. We can have her sent to your room immediately. She's a little off-putting, but don't be afraid.
I'm just gonna look over at Flint and be like, "This needs to go. You're back with Nyx again. Let's gussy up a little bit."
Yes, of course. I will send her right up to your suite. Now, she is rather large, so do not be offended.
Fantastic.
Yes.
He's just gonna slide just another gold piece across
Yes,
to you.
oh, thank you so
Just
much.
Thank you.
Please
Thank you so much for your help.
Enjoy your stay.
So he's just gonna walk on in and see about getting
Sure.
Flint a new set
Yeah,
of
the
clothes.
goblins lead you up to the room. The rooms are very nice. It is probably way nicer than Felren's Funhouse. The bed, each room comes with a king-size bed in it. Each of the 6 rooms, you'll notice various sort of like accoutrement and dressers and things of that sort. In the room, each with a window that overlooks the Red Keep itself, which is odd because there's multiple floors and they all seem to be looking out across the Red Keep. The goblin will look over at you and he says, each room is magically attuned. You just place your hand upon the door.
And that's it.
That's it.
I'm sorry. There you go.
What do you hand him?
A gold piece. I'm sorry. Is that not sufficient?
You don't have any clicky clacks.
Clicky clacks.
It's fine. We operate on a different system here. Be sure to visit the shop downstairs. And he will take it and sort of concentrate. And as he does, he brings his hand up, and the gold coin has formed into a 6-sided die made of the same material. And he holds it up, and he says, "Thank you, sir. If you need anything, just ask for me."
And your name?
It's me.
Me. Fantastic. I will ask for me at once, as soon as I need anything.
Yes, of
I'll be
course.
sounding like a crazy person. Thank you, me.
Were you thanking yourself or me?
I'm getting oddly confused.
Goodbye. And he will walk off. And Flint goes through each of the 6 rooms and finds one that he thinks that he likes the best. And he goes, "Well, I'm going to set up shop in here. I think we did an amazing job. We should take the rest of the day off."
So you're not hungry? Or
They're
thirsty?
sending food up to the room.
Are you trying to get me out of your room? Or are we going to hang out and
I
shoot the
mean,
breeze?
yeah, I guess. What would you like to talk about?
Thank you so much. This has been really great.
No.
I've just...
No, let's talk. Let's talk. You're right. We never have a chance to sit and talk. Do you like to cast spells?
I forgot something downstairs in the shop.
Sure.
Thank you so much. This has been great. And she's gonna
How weird was it when Day kissed you? I'm into this talking thing now. That was good. As you head downstairs to the shop, he sort of like sets the bags up in the room and follows you 2 down to the shop. Let's do this. Like, let's bro it out.
Sure. Over drinks, please.
Yeah. The 2 of you, you guys are set up in the shop. Oh God, here we go. You 2 are in the room.
Bartholomew,
Yes, what is it?
is there anything I should be concerned about with this?
Many things.
Top 3, please.
Sudden death.
It's just a Tuesday.
Slow, painful death.
Also on Tuesdays?
Explosive flatulence.
That'll be new.
So that's who you talk to all the time.
Oh yes, Nyx, Bartholomew.
Hello, Nick.
Pleasure.
If you ever need anything alchemic, he's quite good.
Quite good. Years of knowledge at my disposal. Unlimited library stored in my head. And the review from Mandrake Madigan. Quite good.
His skull went down considerably due to that mouth.
I can see that.
So, here we go. And I'll drink it.
Wait, what? He will look over at you. I need you to give me a Constitution saving throw, please.
A 12?
Okay. Roll 3 d6s, please.
I don't like it anymore. This seems like it might not have been well thought out.
You know, on second thought, maybe a healer would have been nice. Feels real nice.
14.
Okay. So, 14. You drink the potion, or you eat the mushroom?
I drink the potion that Bartholomew made me.
That he was making.
Yeah.
Okay. So you watch as Mandrake takes this blue potion that seems to be sort of floating oddly in this container as he takes a giant sip of this potion, downing the entire thing.
I wouldn't know any different, so yup.
Yes.
All in one.
There is a moment where Bartholomew goes, "Well, buckle up, sweetheart." As you down that, he's like, nothing changes for you at first.
Okay.
You're sort of sitting on this stool, and Nyx, I believe you're standing very close by to where he is. You're just sort of watching him for any sort of
Probably
changes and things
lounging
of that
next
sort.
to the school.
And I have my hat off and sitting in front of me on a table.
Okay. Where are you looking?
At the hat.
Okay. You're looking at the hat. The room begins to melt around the hat. Like things begin to turn into almost like watercolors drifting away from things. So as you look over at Nyx, there is the colors from his short shirt begin to bleed off of him, flowing away, leaving just a plain sort of white shirt. As your eyes are drawn to those colors, you look at him, and Nyx sort of looks at you, and as he steps forward, he's wearing this opulent green and gold crown on top of his head.
I recognize this, yes?
You would recognize the crown.
I would recognize the crown as the image he took on when he dropped Nyx.
Correct.
Okay, got it.
Yeah. So the green and gold crown he's sort of wearing this crown, and as he looks over at you, like his face begins to morph and become more reptilian in nature, and then comes back to being Nyx again. And Nyx, you're just sort of staring at Mandrake as Mandrake's eyes are getting wide and his pupils are dilating, but like almost so much so that like you can't see the whites of his eyes anymore.
Is that supposed to happen? I asked Bartholomew.
I'm going to be completely honest. That was like 3 doses. The blonde girl takes a sip here and there, and she asked me to make it concentrated. I didn't think he was going to upend the entire thing.
Yeah, I'm blaming you on that.
You know what? That's on me. I'll own my mistakes. Whoops-a-doodle.
I would ask Nyx.
You're drawn to the vibrations coming from a corner of the room.
I would stop whatever I was about to say and immediately look in the corner of the room.
You look over towards Bartholomew, who is standing as a tall human, long white hair that seems to be flowing backwards as if it was caught in water. And it seems to be raising up into the air and sort of floating as if he was underwater and you're viewing him like this. Bartholomew has piercing blue eyes that you can see behind a pair of spectacles. Okay. The most confusing thing about Bartholomew standing there is that on his shirt is a pin of the Mad Hatter. And on the other side is a very clear knife wound sticking out. The knife is still there, and the little droplets of blood fall through the air, hitting the ground, leaving little specks behind.
Okay. Bartholomew, how did you die?
We're just going to skip the foreplay, are we? Or not?
He's
How
took
was your day?
3 doses.
3 doses. I was killed. I was assassinated for being too handsome.
I find that hard to believe, but you had blue eyes.
Yes, I did.
You don't need spectacles anymore.
Don't have eyes anymore.
And the stab wound.
I would like permission to shut off now.
Permission granted.
The eyes will begin to close down, and the image will disappear. There's a soft cough. As in front of you, the hat is now sitting. The visage of your grandfather sitting in the chair.
There you are.
Sure.
Um,
You watch as Mandrake turns and looks at the hat. He's sweating. Like, he's got big beads of sweat that are just dripping down his face. Go ahead and mark down 6 points of psychic damage, Mandrake.
okay.
He's looking a little pale, Nix.
Great.
I don't know how much time I have.
Sure.
I needed to talk to you.
Who is it you think you are talking to?
Well, you look like my grandfather.
Oh, then it must be the person you want to speak to most.
One of those situations. Who are you really? Or what are you really?
I'm the hat. Who are you?
Still figuring that out, but one of the
You're doing a
nameless-
piss poor job.
Well then, I'll try a little harder.
No. You won't. I'm done.
You're done.
I'm done. Your grandfather did not create me, utilizing portions of the other gods to sit back as someone who steals things from people. He stood for more. I was doing more good in that shop, being a symbol of rebellion, than I ever did sitting on top of your head.
See?
What do you stand for, Mandrake Madigan?
Up until now, I thought chaos. And making Red Jack pay for what he's done.
We do not stand for chaos. Your father stood for chaos in terms of fixing a broken system, of living in a world that was wrong and wanting to do right. That was what you promised me when we started this. When we set forth, we were going to change things. We were going to help those who needed help. We were going to bring down the establishment.
And you have been watching the whole time, yes?
I have.
And what are we getting ready to do?
Getting ready is one thing. I've waited. I've waited so long. I've been forced to grow ahead of my time. You've sacrificed me and who I was in order to save this group of people, with the promise that we were going to do good, that you are going to represent your name.
And in that time, while you were growing, I grew too. Have I not shown you that?
No. You have grown in skill. You have learned how to hurt people more. You have learned how to steal better. You have become more knowledgeable in terms of archaic means, in casting spells, in making potions. Give me the list. Give me the list of righteous kills, of men saved, of the symbolism that it represents being Mandrake Madigan.
City of Dinah? Was I not there?
You were,
Were you not there?
and you walked away.
I walked away from breaking up love. I walked away from taking on a kingdom under false means. And I walked away with an ally. An ally that can help us change wonder.
Good. Good. You've got a chess piece. Let's use it. I'm hungry, Mandrake. I can only sit atop your head so long before the thoughts of inadequacy and insecurity seep into my being. The time for change is now. I stand for something. Your name stands for something. Let's make them fear it. Let's put the fear of the gods back into the name Madigan.
They will. In 3 days' time.
I would like an hour.
You would like an hour
I would like an hour
to do what?
for control. At a time of my choosing.
Complete control for an hour.
Yes,
And you call the shot on when that is.
absolutely. It's the least I can do. You throw me, you've controlled me for years, and asking for an hour of your time does not seem unreasonable.
What if we flip for it? You choose the moment, we flip. If I fail, you win.
If I lose, I only get 10 minutes. If I win, I get an hour.
We both know you can do a lot of damage in 10 minutes.
You have no idea.
Do you have another name?
I do.
And what is it?
You're not ready for it yet.
And if I don't agree to this?
Then you don't agree. There's no ulterior motive here. I'm hungry. I'm ready to go. How about this? I'll give you the name if you give me the hour. No coin flip intended.
Is Nick's hearing, he's hearing my side of the story.
He's hearing your
Yeah.
side of this conversation. Take another 5 points of damage, please.
Why did he turn off the skull? I don't know how.
Bartholomew, back
Yes.
on.
All right.
Is he fine? Because,
Oh God, no! Look
Should
at
I-
that sweat pouring off of him.
yeah, should I help him or?
I mean, do you have a cold rag? Come over here, and Bartholomew will start mixing a sort of potion and directing you, Nick,
Yeah.
in terms of making something that can help as he begins gathering items, which is good because his mandrake skin is looking a little white.
Do I have a moment to consult?
No.
So I'm supposed to make decisions that are going to affect everyone around me.
Yes, because you are of the group, but you are not part of it. You are a part of history, and you are not of it. That is what you chose when you put me on. You've already sacrificed me for the group. I'm asking you to give me something in return. You killed me. You killed me. Your partner. Your child. You made the choice to put me away for them. You have never apologized. You have never shown any sign of remorse for it. You are sad that you lost your weapon.
I tried to commune with you the moment I got back.
This is me communing with you. I ask my God, who uses me in his name, for a boon.
I get the name if I give you an hour.
Correct.
I give you an hour.
Thank you.
And I am sorry.
Thank you.
I was told it would advance you, not that it would kill you.
I did. I just consider this tough love.
Something I'm familiar with. And the name?
Father. And as you take another 5 points of damage, the image of your hat will begin to fade away, appearing to be that of a hat, and Mandrake Madigan will pass out. Will just sort of hit the ground as he does. Nix, you go over with the potion that he has done and sort of force it down his lips a little bit, and you see the color returning to his face.
Am I awake again?
No, you're out for a little bit.
Okay.
Does anybody need a bathroom break, an intermission?
I
Yeah?
would like a break.
Why don't you, why don't you do that, and we'll go to Enwin and Thoe. Are you guys okay with that?
That works, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah,
know.
yeah. All right. Anybody who needs a bathroom break, go take a bathroom break, including no, not Enwin. So Thoe, you are moved through the forest. As you are moved through the forest, and Enwin is just sort
This
of.
is what we're doing now. All right.
Enwin is just sort of walking behind all of you. There's a bunch of the druids, like I said, about 50 of them, and Enwin is just sort of following behind Thoe. Do you take a moment to explain what is happening?
Yes, absolutely. So I'm dropping out of Druidic as soon as I possibly can, and explaining to him what he just heard, like the conversation. And we're going to see the caterpillar.
Like the pattern.
Like apparently the caterpillar. Apparently he's still around, and I get to talk to him.
All right. Okay. Let's go.
Maybe he can help with the.
Let's hope so.
We can ask.
We can.
You are brought forward into this large clearing that goes past the Thoisar River. It's more of a stream, really. As you make your way along the Thoisar stream, you come to this this beautiful grove. In this grove is a rock outcropping that's sort of at the center of this grove of trees, and on the stone pedestal, large, ever so large, is a sickly looking green caterpillar. But as you begin to walk forward, there is a look of recognition in his face, and he will sigh, and as he does, a bit of smoke will leave his mouth. As it does, it seems to, the smoke seems to form out of hands encompassing and sort of beckoning you forward as they sort of gesture you forward towards him.
It's so good not to have to explain what I look like now. Are you okay? I mean, you don't look okay.
No,
But-
I am in a state of transition.
Can I help? I'm good at healing. I mean, I know they're probably also good at healing, but
Life continues. It is a constant cycle of death and rebirth.
glad you're safe. I didn't know where you were.
What happened to you?
I grabbed someone's necklace and now
Would you like it to be fixed?
I would.
Wait,
Would you like to do anything before it's fixed? I wasn't speaking to you.
Okay, and Zoe's gonna run her fingers through his hair and put her hands like this. And she's gonna say, "This is really nice, but it's not you.
No, it's not.
And I know how that feels. And I like you better."
Thank you.
Okay.
The caterpillar will reach sort of off to his side, and as he does, he picks up what looks to be an ordinary leaf. And just like you did when you were a child, he takes the leaf and he sort of like tears it a little bit. And as he tears it, he druid crafts and the leaf forms again. And as it does, the curse that was surrounding you falls away, and you are built back up to be that of Enwin Silva.
Oh God, it feels so good to be me.
The ground seems to respond to you too. It's the first time in a while that you've been surrounded by lush greenery, and it feels good. I think it's good for you spiritually, and you feel at home and at peace with sort of how you were and who you are as a person back in your natural status. The caterpillar will smile and nod his head towards you.
This makes me very happy.
I'm glad, Edmund. We've never really gotten along on the best terms,
That's true.
but I'm happy you're here.
As am I.
Zoe,
Yes. We kind of need your help.
with what?
Well, do you want to tell him?
I think it'd be better to show him. And he's gonna pull out the seed from his bag. Do you know what this is? Of course you do.
I do.
We need someone to watch it. Something's happened.
He will look back over at the group of druids who are sort of gathered in the clearing, and a few of them begin to speak to one another, and he looks at you and says, I am not well. Like I said, the life comes in cycles. There is death and rebirth, and do you know what it is to love someone?
Yes, I do.
To have an other half? My other half is not here. Nature is very ordered, but without a bit of chaos in the mix, there is no one to dedicate where the wind may blow and where the seeds may fall in random scatterings. Emotions have a bit of chaos thrown in the mix. It's hard to have the order of nature without the other side of the coin, and while my other half is missing, I am not quite well.
How can I help?
Let us get Enwin's people protected. There is a beast here in the forest, powerful enough that I have not been able to make contact with, and there is a cave not too far from here, a little to the northeast. Even the guards are afraid to approach it. My druids have been informed to stay away from it. He is powerful. I do not know quite what he is, but should you form a team and seek his boon, that would be enough to protect your people.
What manner of beast is it?
I say this with all the sincerity and fear that I hope you can intune from it. I don't know.
Right.
He is of this world, but not of it. He is from a different place.
What else can you tell us about?
Give me a persuasion check.
That is an adjusted 20.
He begins to close his eyes and reach out with his consciousness, and as he does, his tiny sort of a little bit of smoke will exit out from him, and as it does, it forms a hand that reaches out towards you, Enwin. somebody talk about upcoming stuff that's coming on the channel.
The other
Upcoming
day.
stuff. Oh my gosh.
I'll
Okay,
come back.
Did he already? You can't. We're gonna talk like this.
We're gonna
right
talk.
through
I'll
you.
just
I'll
be over here.
No, go ahead. Have a seat.
So, Indigo,
Sit
what
real
new
close.
things are
So
coming
new
up?
things coming up. He kind of already announced this, but if you just joined, we have been working really, really hard for an intro for Never, which is our campaign that takes place at 8 p.m. Eastern time on Fridays. And so we beautiful, beautiful drawings done by Dee Whaler, and an amazing voiceover and music mix that was done by Call Sign Scarecrow. A huge fan of Call Sign. In fact, I'm even going to do a shout out to
Shout out Call Sign.
him because he's spectacular. If you've never heard of him, go check him out. And so we put it all together, and we're really excited. Oh, and he did a
Aw.
thing
Thing?
at the beginning. There's words. Words are hard. So
The
yeah,
title screen?
super excited about that. Oh, and by the way, if you're in our Discord, I just put up a photograph of where the hurricane is next to us. It's pretty spectacular. So feel free to go
Yeah,
to
it's
the
actually
Discord and check
it's
that out.
on my house right now.
Enwin reaches out his hand as he does this smoke. Spectral hand reaches out to grab onto his, and as it does, Enwin's eyes turn the same sort of misty, cloudy material. They begin to dart back and forth, and there is a second where he cocks his head to the side, confused, and then Enwin is forcefully pushed backwards and falls back, hitting his knees onto the ground and sort of breathing heavily as his hands reach into the dirt.
I'm gonna run towards him and get down and say, "Are you okay?" And I'm looking at the caterpillar and going, "What did you do to him?
I'm fine. Fine.
Tell me what happened."
The caterpillar showed me where to find this thing. It's a cave with gold and platinum and maybe a huge snake is the best that I could gather.
Okay. All right. So we need everyone else here.
You're not wrong. Just have to get them here.
How can we make sure that our companions have passage into the forest? I know it's well guarded.
Permission granted.
Okay.
I've just been waiting.
Teleport from
Oh, they made you something. This is her. And Brianna turns and looks over at everybody and smacks them. She's see, and and Brianna goes tearing off into this little hut that's off to the side. As she does, she comes out holding a small acorn. And as she hands out the acorn, she says, "A long time ago, you gave all the gold you had, Thoisar. And without it, this sanctuary, this place where animals are free to live away from the Queen's grasp, would never have been created. Sometimes when we plant a seed, we do not know the shape that it'll take. Just as you did all those years ago, you planted a seed not knowing what would grow from it. And a forest grew. So this is something that we have all collectively made for you, as a token of our appreciation." And she hands you this acorn.
Thank you.
You reach out towards the acorn, sort of feeling what it is, and though it's hard, the first thing you experience is a deep sadness. And you can't figure out where this sadness is coming from. It's coming from everywhere all at once. It seems like it's 1,000 voices, more than 1,000 voices, sort of screaming out. And then as you start to focus down, you realize that this sadness is coming from every tree, every plant, everything that had been struck down. All of the sadness, every voice, every sound quieted has been concentrated. And as that sadness passes you, it's replaced with something else. Rage. A deep, powerful, hungry rage. The rage to grow and to strike back. And as you concentrate on this, the acorn spreads outward, forming this wood and around you that begins to smolder just a tiny bit as it touches your skin, leaving this small trail of smoke behind you. This armor works as half plate armor, and it is +1. It shapes itself to the user. You have no disadvantage when it comes to stealth checks. You are calling upon the spirit of every tree that has fallen. And you may sacrifice one of these plants in the form of a hit dice to regain spell slots. Let me say it like this. At any point, you can say, I want to sacrifice 3 hit dice, and you gain back a level 3 spell, or 3 level 1 spells, or 3 level 2 spells.
So kind
or
of like sorcery points.
Or a level 2 and a level 1,
Okay.
like kind of like sorcery points where you call upon the spirits of the trees themselves to regain magic back.
Okay. Oh my gosh.
Okay? So
Alright.
half plate, it is called Nature's Remorse.
Okay.
It has been added to your inventory. It is not, well, it may not have been added to your
That's okay.
inventory. Yeah, but
I'll
you can
check.
find it, it's been added. Your armor is gonna be, what is your dex?
Currently it is. Currently it is +1.
Okay, so you're gonna be at either a 17 or an 18 armor class now. But no disadvantage on stealth checks.
Huge
Size
difference.
individual.
Okay.
I was so fluffy. I was
Okay.
so fluffy.
You watch, and as this acorn sort of takes the form of this armor, and as it does, it smolders a little tiny bit on the fire genasi skin, and leaving this sort of trail of smoke as she moves her hands and looks about. Though with a thought, you reach towards your chest and very simply pull your arm back, and in your palm is that acorn again. It'll take an action.
Oh, okay. To put on the armor and take it off. Okay.
Another benefit of this armor is that should you take it off and something happens and you need to put on your armor quickly, it usually takes 10 minutes to start getting dressed. And just are close to that. I'll have to double check the player's handbook. It might be a little longer depending on the armor, but this acorn, it just takes you reaching out and it forms around you. Okay?
Yes.
The caterpillar nods his head, and Brianna looks really surprised and like happy. She was like, I didn't think it was gonna work.
Oh.
I mean, yay!
Okay.
Thank
you.
And all the druids sort of bow in your direction.
Well, that's impressive.
Thanks.
Now you get to know what it's like to be a tree.
You're right. I know that the idea of owning a forest makes you really uncomfortable.
It's true.
I don't think anybody owns this. This isn't about owning a forest. This is about Did you see what happened? Did you see what happened to the rest of the trees?
I did. I understand what they're trying to do.
The money was never about owning anything. The money was about protection, and for protection it takes money and people to protect it. It was never about purchasing a forest.
I understand that now.
Okay.
At the time I didn't, but it's where I'm at now.
You may rest here as long as you need. Our accommodations are small. This is not the city accommodations that you are used to, but the food is here, the stream is plentiful.
Is there a place where like 7 people, possibly 8, could stay?
Sure, just 7 or 8.
I'm trying to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Everyone.
Lovely. Yes, we can
No,
accommodate.
There's
so
actually
that-
quite a
No.
large group of people coming.
Oh,
We're
How-
bringing you help.
Yeah.
wonderful.
Am I missing somebody?
You suddenly remember the conversation that the small army from Dinah is on their way,
Oh,
and the
that's
small
right.
army from Tanaf is on their
I
way.
forgot. Okay, is there a place where a lot of Edmund would remind me of that? I forgot.
We will make room as long as they are respectful of the forest and the animals found therein.
I don't think that will be a problem. They're farmers, and as I understand it, part of them are part animal. So
Brianna just starts like. You see some of the other druids looking excited as they all start to begin to talk, and there's a resounding call when you hear people going, all right, there's work to do. Let us set up as many small encampments as we can. Let us start gathering food now. And there is a flurry of activity. And as Druidic magic begins to craft these huts and shapes and things in the forest, and the caterpillar smiles at each of you and says, so, where are the rest of your friends?
The mouth?
Let's cut to the mouth. Chris, Grim, you and Flint, after a bit of time, you guys are just sort of enjoying yourselves.
Yes.
Figuring out what to do with yourself. You're in this small shop. You see this shop that sells all sorts of fine accoutrement, like a fine-priced alcohol. It's not a bar of sorts. It almost looks like a small shop with shelving. There are these bags. They come in pounds, and they say pound o' clicky clacks for 5 gold apiece.
I'm buying a couple.
Buy a couple pounds?
Yeah.
Yeah, you got a little pound, and they look like different shapes, different sizes. One of them, looks like a D20. You got a D4 in there, a D7. You notice all of these odd different shapes that seem to be, and as you walk away with that pound, oh clicky clacks, you notice that some of the goblins that are walking around are giving you like extra eyes and sort of bowing a little deeper as you're holding on to these. Where do you head after that?
Probably to go find Flint some clothing,
Sure.
or at least get him dressed by that.
You head upstairs to your room and there's a soft tap at your door.
Yes. Who's there?
Grim, is that you?
Is this a spider?
Francine, the giant spider, begins to like tap on your door, and Flint goes, "Oh my God!"
It's fine. It's fine. She's great. You will
And
love her.
Francine comes. This giant spider swarms into the room and wraps around Grim. And Flint, he just hears, "It's fine," and this giant spider wraps around, and Flint is still like backed up against the corner of the room, and she uncurls her legs and, "Where have you been? I haven't spoken to you in so long."
It has been quite a time, hasn't it?
It has been. And who is your?
It's
I knew it. I knew it. The fancy dress.
Okay.
This
Alright.
is lovely. It's a pleasure to meet you.
This is Flint.
Hello, Flint. Grim and I go way back. This outfit that he's wearing, I actually created this.
She is the brains behind it all. It's fantastic.
He sort of nods his head and just, "It's very nice to meet you, ma'am."
Grim's just gonna go over to the case and make, no, he's in here.
Oh.
Yeah.
So you'll notice as he's starting to rouse a little bit and sit up back to consciousness, there is a moment where you look up towards the front as the front door is open. Flint pokes his head in, Grim does, and so does Francine as she sort of like tips her head in.
Oh.
Hello, Nix.
Hey. Good to see you again.
Good to see you too. Why does Mandrake look so pale?
Why does he look so pale?
Yeah,
I may have done something terrible.
I mean, that's.
he took some stuff.
Could I have a little bit of your web, please? I think I could do some lovely things with it. Yes, of course, dear. Anything you need.
That would be the moment where I saw Francine. Freaked out.
Oh, I just realized Edwin's not meeting the giant spider seamstress. Oh no! You make your way back up. Your color is already returning to your face. Is your hat with you? Are you bringing your hat with you?
I would pick it up and bring it with me.
Bartholomew will sort of speak out to you. Be aware, Mandrake. There's no telling what you may have seen or heard or experienced. It could be the truth. It could also be the elephant-grade hallucinogenics you took beforehand. So just before you make any sort of rash decisions, walk around pantsless, clucking like a chicken. Just remember this. I say this with all sincerity. I hate you less than most people.
Ask for the dosage next time.
That's fair. I am concerned because everything else that I saw was true.
Well, yes. It's not an exact science. Go eat something and drink something.
I'll nod. I'm going to pass him the night sky. I forget the name of the potion. The one from the musical episode.
Okay.
The heroism potion.
Yeah.
I'm gonna pass him the ingredients
To
and just say, I don't know if you've seen this before, but I thought you might find it interesting.
who do you pass it to?
To Bartholomew. I just slide it over next
Okay.
to the skull.
Yeah. Leave it here. I will do my best to understand its workings.
You're free.
What?
You're free to go if you would like.
Okay.
We could use your help here. But it doesn't seem right to keep you trapped anymore.
Oh. Yes, well, I mean, I'm so used to the space. And so old. What would I do with myself out here in the wilds? And I am magically bound here, so...
Well, you may take your free time to learn how to break your binding.
Yes, I will be right on that. I don't like it when you're sincere. Can we just go back to calling each other ass hats or something?
Yes, you awful waste of a skeleton.
Good, you alcoholic, drug-induced elf. I love you so much. He will begin to analyze this potion.
I'll go upstairs and
yeah.
close
And
the
I've
lid.
already left.
Yeah, you're up and up. And Flint looks a little bit more relaxed as he's starting to be around her, and Fentine is measuring him and taking this little bit of measuring tape out, and she goes, how many outfits do we need here? Is this is this for a fancy party? Is this for...
Let's give him 3. One that he can just parade around in, and one that he can fight in, and one that he can in. You know, knight of the town.
I think Nyx will turn his head like this, and so will she, as this giant spider, and sort of look at you. And Flint goes, and she will just sort of nod. She was like, do we want any of these outfits magically enhanced in any way?
I'm looking to Flint. That's all up to him.
Flint's like, yeah, knock yourself out, make one of them cool. And she's like, done and done. I'll have them to you by tomorrow morning. And
Fantastic.
Now, I'm still there for this?
Yeah.
Do you have time to make one more thing?
Always. For you, dear. You know that.
I don't know how to ask for this.
Use your words.
A cloak that would allow me to blend in more easily. Something like the elves have.
A cloak of elven kind, dear.
Yes.
That's a bit expensive, dear.
How much?
I'm not sure. I can search the storehouse. You're just looking to be a little harder to find?
When I choose to be.
All right. Let me see what I have in my storehouse, and I will quote you some prices in the morning.
Could you alter it to look something like this? And just like motion to my, the long coat that I wear.
You want it to look like your pre-existing coat? I certainly could try.
Okay. Thank you.
Of course. Anything. Give Thoe my love, please, and Day as well. I miss them both.
Could you do me one small favor?
This is turning into quite a list of small favors.
Could you make a little spider out of cloth? Just a little one, like a sacked spider. Just
That's really racist. I'm just kidding. I'm
Okay,
fine.
I didn't know where you were going.
And
Too many eyes looking at me.
She will craft, and she will craft this small sort of spider for you, and as she does, she will leave it in your hands.
Cool.
Is this for a child or?
He's only 3.
Yes. Thank you. And just let me know how much it costs for
Who is it
all.
for?
Oh, that's neither here nor there. Just let me know how much all this costs, and I'd be more than happy to.
Yes. Well, no, it's included in your stay. You have some of the nicer rooms here.
Fantastic. Thank you so much.
Yes, of
So,
course.
what did these rooms cost?
The funny thing about all of that who are in the room.
Fancy will sort of walk out of the room, and as she leaves, she will begin to work on these items that you requested. Flint will sort of look up, and he goes, "You know, sweetie, we never got a price. Did we get a price?"
For the rooms?
Yeah.
It is more like a gesture of good faith, really. I presented
You
some.
had one job,
Go.
and I'll go downstairs.
As you head downstairs, there will be a bit of confusion as he looks up and does not recognize you as someone that is staying here. And may I help you, sir?
Yes, my friends came in and got a few rooms.
Yes.
Yes, how much were they? Each?
Do your friends have names?
Grim? Flint? They were getting new clothes.
Guess you never gave any name.
Okay, just what's the price of a regular room here?
Well, a regular room is 20 gold a night. Then they go up from there to our, deluxe suites, and then we have the common rooms, which I feel is an ironic name because the common rooms have free food
How
and
much
drink.
would those be?
The common rooms are the steel at 40 gold a night.
And I leave.
At this point, I'm probably just trailing thereafter. Like, it wasn't that expensive. He didn't
Mandrake,
tell
you
me.
have a room that's set up for you.
Before I went to my room, do I still have a time with Flint and Nyx and Grim? Like a few minutes with them?
Yeah?
I'm gonna relay what happened.
We're spending one night here and then we're leaving. Idiot.
I'm gonna relay what happened.
Yeah, Mandrake fills you all in on the events that would happen, and Flint sort of nods his head, and he goes and puts a comforting hand on your shoulder and actually brings you over to sit on the edge of the bed and pours you a glass of water. And
Are the blinds open? Is the window open, overlooking the Red Keep?
yes, you're overlooking the Red Keep.
I'm gonna get up and close the blinds.
Okay.
And then come back and sit down. So what this means is, at any time I could lose control.
And that is different how?
As illustrated previously, when I, quote unquote, lose control, there is a plan. I have no idea what this is going to do.
What would the hat want to do?
It was angry. It wanted to make a name for itself. And I have a theory.
It's a demon. Dancing demon. Something isn't right. But
He said he was father. He looked like my grandfather. My father was an angry man. Maybe a piece of him, maybe a piece of whoever wields the hat becomes the hat. All I know for sure is at any time I could lose control. And he didn't care about any of you the way that I do.
So part of this deal is you lose control and the hat takes over. Is that right?
For an hour.
Okay, then what are you gaining out of this?
I got his name.
Like in the way that Anwin gets it.
Didn't feel like that.
You'll hear a voice in the top of your head being like, I'm sorry, are we really sort of mincing words about having control here? For all that I assist you with in your endeavors, are we really going to have this conversation? Do you want to have this conversation in front of people? Should I come out and talk with all of them too? Oh no, God, heaven forfend someone share a body space with this poor man.
It's not like that. It's me looking out for him.
All right,
We
fine.
worked in tandem together.
Yes.
Large ears and big feet and all.
Yes, of course.
I'm just looking out for Mandrake.
All
Come
right,
on.
fine.
I just thought you should know that there's a good chance that I could act more sporadically than normal.
Stop talking.
Are you
Mandrake turns and looks at all of you and says, I'm not going to... Wait, pause.
Say pause.
We're going to do this. I'm not going to do anything that's going to endanger any of your lives. I swear. You mean the world to him, and I can do better things with an army as my back. We are going to do great things and bring honor back to the Madigan name. Do you understand?
What kind of things?
We're going to sow the seeds of chaos.
That's not really an answer.
I know. You have control again?
Do I know that I lost time?
Yep. You were in the hat.
I was a passenger.
Okay.
Oh my gosh.
So like that.
Well, he shouldn't die.
Great.
1 hour?
Well, 1 hour minus a few minutes.
Seconds.
A few minutes. I think
Well,
it's
a few
like
seconds.
45 seconds.
Yeah.
47.
Yeah.
I was so close.
Mhm. I may have made a mistake.
Let's go back. As there's a soft knock at the door leading into the room. Yeah, to your room.
Hello?
There's a bunch of goblins. They've got plates of food. They've got a bunch of drinks on a platter. They have. Do you want us to deliver all 6 to this room?
1, 2, 3. Yes, bring it in.
They bring in 6 rooms worth of food,
Yes.
not 6 people worth of food.
Oh, no, yes.
This room is filled to the brim. Steaming plates of vegetables and smoked meats and bottles of wine, cups of ale, and the desserts, pastries, all sorts of things piled onto trays and left. They run out of table space and start leaving things on the bed and different sort of bedside tables.
I'm just gonna go over to whichever goblin is closest to me and just get the pound of clicky clack.
Okay.
Is each one like D20, D4, D7? Are they at a different value?
You
Or-
have no idea.
Damn. Okay. I'll just talk to the goblin. Like, I'll just pull out a D20. I'm like,
Yeah.
is
Yes.
Mandrake's gonna pipe up. Is all of this included in the room fee?
Yes.
welcome back from hell.
I'm gonna grab a bottle of wine and go to the corner.
Each goblin in turn takes a little bit of the clicky clacks, and me sort of nods his head to you. And thank you, Masters. If there's anything else you need for this evening, let us know.
A do not disturb sign upon the door.
Oh yes. Magical or non-magical?
Flint, magical or non-magical.
Is it extra?
No, it is not extra.
Lighten up.
I don't care then.
With that magical, please.
Yep. He goes over to he reaches into a sack that he keeps at his side and pulls out one. One is a regular, just says "Do not disturb" written in common. The other one is a "Do not disturb" sign, and there's a pair of red lips painted at the bottom of the sign. He hangs it on the door, and as he closes the door, it is quiet for a little bit as you all eat food, and then you feel someone walk down the hallway, and you hear, "Don't come in here."
I'm so glad I got that. I'm so glad I got it. You need to lighten up, Nix. Nice. I mean, Flint's having fun.
A spider dressed me today.
Something to talk about.
I'm actually gonna leave the room and go outside.
Like of the resort?
Yeah.
Flint's gonna follow. Is this really bad?
Reminds me too much of home.
Which part? The servants? The food?
Everything?
The hoity elves? Haughty?
Yeah. That's everything. Just. It's been a while.
Why don't we try this? Just for a night. Can I not be somebody that spent a good portion of his life in hell? Can you, for a second, not have to be the person that was a prince and had to watch your family taken away? Can we just be two people in love who enjoy each other's company?
That's honestly all I want.
Let's do that then. Let's have a night. Let's have one night in this crazy world of little goblin men and queens and giant spiders and going to hell and missions and things of that sort. Let's just have a night. You and I. It's a night to carry with us.
Okay.
Okay, now walk out of the hotel and then come back in. Just walk out of the hotel, come back in.
I'll do that.
As you come back in, he's sitting in a chair.
Hello?
Oh, hello. Nix, right?
Yes.
Nix. Wow, you are incredibly handsome.
Thank you. You too.
Oh, I know. I'm a little more handsome than you, but you really brought your game.
Still need to say it though.
I know. I feel like I did need to say it though. Would you like to have dinner with me?
I'd love to.
It's a little forward, but would you like to have dinner in my room?
Your room?
Yes, I paid for it in this fantasy.
All right. Your room then.
Great. Right this way. And he will hold his hand out to you.
I'll take it.
He leads you back to the room for a night of drinking and food and conversation, and I don't think the two of you sleep at all that night. So, Grim, you drink wine and enjoy yourselves. You're gonna live it up to the fullest. I think you.
I'm gonna be broke tomorrow, but I'm gonna do this right now.
There's a big question that I need to ask though.
Yeah.
Do you contact justice, or do you just enjoy yourselves with Mandrake catching up with friends and being in this space?
How long have we been doing this for? Like this whole little like soiree?
Few hours.
God, so that's probably more than enough alcohol to be like.
Oh, Mandrake's drunk.
Yeah. Pretty much living the old time, you know. So
Great.
Yeah.
Great. I'm gonna have you two roll on for a carousing table to see what you guys get up to when you're drunk. And I need each of you to roll a D100 for me, please.
Oh,
Yes.
As we go back to Foey
Dan's not
and
good.
Enwin, as you two are in the forest. Night begins to fall for you as well. Most of the druids spend their time setting up shelter and forming small little camps set up around the area. As these camps are set up and food is prepared and stockpiled, you all, what are you doing with your night?
Well, we should probably, number one, let them know what's going on. Did you want to stay in the forest? I mean, I kind of want to stay in the
I'd
forest.
like to. Why?
Okay, good. Okay, so why don't we call them and let them know that we're going to stay in the forest, and then they can come join us. I mean, tonight, but they probably won't want to, but maybe tomorrow?
Okay. Sounds
Okay.
good. You want to call him or should I?
I guess I can call.
All
I
right.
mean, you can talk too.
That's
we,
true.
We can really all talk at the same time. Okay, so I get out the phone and I call everyone, I guess.
I don't answer.
Flint doesn't answer, Nix doesn't answer, Mandrake answers.
Is this like a?
Yeah, it's a group
they're
call.
drunk.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yep. You Yep, drunk as.
Oh my god. great.
Hello?
Hi, Louie.
Oh, goodness. Okay, so are you guys up for maybe coming to the forest? Probably sounds like tomorrow?
Here,
Totally
forest
not.
tomorrow.
Definitely tomorrow.
Okay. We're gonna stay in the forest tonight.
I bet you are staying in that forest.
K-I-S-S-I-N-G.
I would ask how much you've had to drink, but I really don't even need to know.
7.
7?
It was free.
They've had 7. I don't know exactly what that means, but I kind of do. All right. Please be safe. Can you please remember tomorrow that we are in the forest, and all you have to do is call us.
Call you tomorrow.
Okay. Bye.
Call you the forest.
Bye. Yes.
I-
Oh goodness.
Let's say this: the two of you have a lovely night of sleeping under the stars. I think I think you spend time. The caterpillar sort of regales you all with stories and tells stories about the beginnings of Wonderland. This is translated into the next time either of you make a history check, one time and one time only, you'll be rolling at advantage. So mark that down. It can be history or religion, as he begins to tell stories about the beginnings of Wonderland and things of that sort. But that's where we leave the two of you, sleeping under the stars together. And when you back in plant form, would you like sunlight? The druids ask. Okay, then you sleep under the stars with Thoe in this small clearing close to the caterpillar. Each of you, with the realization hits that each of you have something tying you to your background that involves armor that encompasses you. You with the small scarab on your back, and you with the acorn now having this ability, you sort of share this bond throughout the night. Boys, what did you get on your D100s? Let's see what happens the next morning as you wake up.
I got a 23.
23.
So if I did that right, I wrote 5 D20s and counted them up.
Sure.
That's not 100,
give me a
right?
D6, buddy.
D6.
Yeah. What did you get, buddy?
56.
I'm so excited about
Oh,
this.
It landed standing up.
What did you get, Chris?
56.
56.
Somehow rolled a
it was
7 on a
hard
D6.
night. It was it was a bad night.
I think you should roll again.
I rolled and it stood up.
Ooh.
It's a
Oh,
that
that's,
means like
that's DM's
perfect.
choice.
Got it. No, that's good. That's great. That's great. You guys have a night of drinking hard, and when you wake up the next morning, you wake up as you hear this.
Magic shot.
And you're looking up at the sort of the ceiling as a small head like leans over you very slowly.
Oh no!
What are you doing in the temple?
What do you mean? What do you mean?
What are you doing in the temple?
This was our room like 5 minutes.
Where are your clothes? As you look down and realize that you are completely bare-ass naked.
Are we both in the same place?
No.
Okay.
Grim has a bottle of booze that still has a little bit left in it, and Dorian is leaning over you.
my God.
And as you look about, everybody is gathered around, including Justice, who just has her arms crossed, staring down at you.
It's not what it.
Constitution save?
Well, it's not bad. It's an 11, but yeah.
It's not what it. You just like throw up on your, like you don't even have a chance to like turn your head. It just goes over. And Justice turns her head and just walks away.
It's exactly what it looks like.
Mandrake, you're in your room. You're real hungover, dude. You got a little like burning headache, and you hear.
Am I on my bed?
You are on your bed, and this scratching noise seems to be coming from under the bed.
Oh god. Am I, like, what am I wearing?
You look down, you are wearing the fanciest dress you've ever seen. It is a red sparkly ball gown. The sparkly ball gown looks very opulent. You are wearing matching jewelry, a necklace, rings.
Of course I am.
You reach up to your head and you pull your hat down, and there's two eyes that you've drawn on, and a lipstick mouth at the very top.
Not gonna help my case with the hat.
You look over next to the dresser, and in it, scratched in your handwriting, is "Don't forget, you're Mrs. Nesbit." You pick up the paper.
The paper. I'm sorry.
There's a paper that says, "Don't forget, you're Mrs. Nesbit."
I would mage hand it.
Yeah. As you pick it up and mage hand it over to you, there's something written on the back.
I'm gonna read the back.
Don't forget to feed Cuddles.
Oh God.
I love this so much.
I'm gonna look under the bed.
You get down from the bed in your red sparkly dress, and you lift the flap of the bed, and you look under the bed. Do you have dark vision?
I do have dark vision.
Through the dark vision haze, you look forward to what looks to be a very sparkly collar wrapped around this large salamander. It looks to be the size of a dog. And its eyes are like just staring at you.
Cuddles, I presume. Do I know what salamanders eat?
You don't.
Okay.
Give me animal handling.
Okay, no, I can do that.
Save it.
You're grounded. 14.
Cuddles comes running out and up from under the bed and jumps into your arms. Do you hold Cuddles?
Of course I
As you hold Cuddles, the shock lizard ignites, sending a torrent of electricity through your body as Cuddles gives you his cuddle hug. And that's where we're going to end tonight's episode.
Did that rest count as a long rest?
Everyone has a long rest in their for their character. I will talk with the lovely Miss Tweedleday tomorrow about what happened during her time. But you now have position of a shock lizard named Cuddles.
Of course I do.
And,
who didn't have a pet.
don't forget that you're Mrs. Nesbit. So thank you all so much for tuning in to our Hurricane episode. I'm so glad we got to fit Dorian in, who's probably going to be a character that went going. When you rolled, you wind up naked in a temple. I was like, yep, there we go.
It's going full circle.
It's coming full circle. So we love you guys. Don't forget that there's always a spot at the table for you. I forgot to announce we have a very, very, very special set of dice that we just purchased that I'm going to make part of a Neverland giveaway because it seems appropriate to me. They are like Indigo. And for any Adventure Zone fans out there, they're from that. They're called Voidfish dice. And for anybody that's a fan of the Adventure Zone, that really means a lot to me. So tune in on Friday to win this special pair of dice. They're some of the prettiest dice I've ever seen in my entire life. We love you guys. Thank you for following. Don't forget that if you subscribe this month, it's 50% off. You can also do it for free with Amazon Prime. We have something special we're trying on Neverland on Friday as well, where we're going to give you guys, for all of our subscribers, we're giving you guys something very special. And I haven't talked to my Neverland crew about this. Here on Indigo Chameleon, we're going to start doing something called the Backstage Pass. The Backstage Pass is this: about an hour before the stream starts, when we're hanging out and making inside jokes and talking and just sort of eating food and getting ready for characters, we are going to turn the cameras on. For all subscribers to the channel, you will get a Backstage Pass as we hang out. You can ask us questions. We're going to hang out in the chat. We're going to talk and every show that we have, we're going to give you backstage access. So you're going to feel what it's like to be sitting with us and hanging out with us a little bit before the stream starts. So for all of you that are already subscribing, you don't have to do a thing. For anybody that wants this inside glance into what it's like to actually sit at the table with us before we start playing and sharing some of our stories. So yeah, tune in for that, and be sure to tell your friends that that's what subscribers get. They get the backstage pass. So we love you guys. Indigo Connect, and hey, do you wonder? We'll see you guys soon.